Close any YouTube windows that you may have open. Nope. Anything streaming?
Nope.
Okay, I've closed mine. Let me see. I'm going to disconnect from Wi-Fi. Reconnect to Wi-Fi. Hi, everybody. We are doing a show. And resume. And trying to reconnect. And... All right. So compared to last time, maybe speak maybe a little louder because I'm a little closer.
Okay.
Just elevate it a little until we can. And by the way, I found some adapters. I don't know if it can take two of these USBs into one. They can be plugged into the jack. I'm going to look at them. I'm probably just going to order some adapters and start trying it so we can each have a mic. But until then, we'll do the best we can with what we got.
Okay.
All right. Where are you going to be in this camera? If I'm going to be here, that's good here. Hi, everybody. We're live. What's up? I think we should just launch. We'll figure it out.
Okay.
Oh, maybe I'll...
Live on YouTube?
Yeah, live on YouTube, live on Facebook, and the other Facebook. Oh, Blake Walley's watching. I know him.
Hey.
I may remember him from such Twitter feeds as @eccentric99. Okay, good. Triple camera. Yeah. 3, 2, 1. Broadcasting to you live from the Milky Way Galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, California, Los Angeles, to be specific. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Agree to Disagree. You're on TheNewAmericanMedia.com. My name is Brian Engelman. This is Blake, the eccentric Wally.
Hello.
You can follow him on Twitter. He's @eccentric99. Follow us on Twitter. We're @American_media_. YouTube.com/TheNewAmericanMedia. Go over there and click. You can just watch us live while we're streaming. We're here. We're going to try to read your comments. If you're on YouTube or Facebook, we have 2 Facebook feeds going. One is the Agree to Disagree private show, private program, private page rather. So you can join the private group. There, I figured it out on the 3rd or 4th word. The private group on Facebook, it's called the Agree to Disagree Show. You can join that. And the other one is Facebook.com/TheNewAmericanMedia. That's our other feed. So join us at all of these places. Wanted to bring you in and do a show today. Going to cover some of the things going on in the news. And then we're going to get into Mueller madness. Mueller or Mueller? Mueller. I think that should be the bracket down in the championship game. Is it Mueller or is it Mueller?
I guess it depends. I've seen that name a few times, and people pronounce it differently. Whether it's Mueller, Or Miller, I've even heard. Isn't there a baseball
You've heard
player?
Miller?
Wasn't there a baseball player who played for the Giants? Miller. It was spelled just like that. I'm gonna have to dig around.
Oh, I mean, there were plenty of players that played that had the name Miller. I don't know, but I digress. We'll get to that in a second. But yeah, make sure you're doing all the things to follow us. Instagram.com/TheNewAmericanMedia as well. So in lieu of Mueller madness, I'll call it Mueller.
Yeah.
Doggone it. I still
Bill Miller, third baseman, played for the Giants.
Bill Miller, pronounced Mueller.
It's spelled exactly the same way.
All right. Well, it is opening day in baseball, so it's worth bringing up the baseball.
That's true.
The New York Baseball Giants, the San Francisco Giants. Anyway, I digress. Look, everybody who is watching, type your comments. If they let me see them, I'll try to incorporate you into the show. Blake, let's do some quick hits going through the news before we get into Mueller madness.
Well, yeah, do we want to start with Mueller or do we want to start with Jussie Smollett? Those are really the only 2 major stories on the radar. We won't do a huge show, no marathon show today, but we have the Republicans calling for the resignation of Adam Schiff. It's a big letter put out, which was pretty good. And they called him out today as well on Capitol Hill. And he defended himself, so it's going to be quite a battle. But yeah, all the signatures calling for his resignation. That was pretty awesome.
Do we have any quick hits on like the worst stuff he had to say, or it's a cornucopia of just absolute nonsense? And his wild, rampant speculation, fever dreams, wet dreams of bringing down a presidency. I mean, the wet dreams part. It's right. I mean, this fake dossier. For anybody that hasn't followed this. How do we quickly sum it up? The DNs, because now we have to go back and figure out how we got here. So this was opposition research, John McCain and Hillary Clinton. Hold on. Yeah. What is the best way to describe this? There's so many different angles to walk it back, peel back the layers of the onion.
Okay.
Because Hillary played a part, the DNC played a part, George Soros played a part, John McCain played a part, Comey played a part, people like Adam Schiff played a part, the media played a part, Hollywood played a part, all sorts of things. How do you describe it quickly for the layman, for the layperson?
Oh, man. So I guess this was a backup plan. Well, I mean, during the election, you're obviously going to dig up dirt on your opponents and find out, try to smear them and give yourself an advantage. And so I guess they came up with this dossier was the best that they could do, put forth by some Clinton guy, Christopher Steele, kind of a questionable guy putting up this material. And with
a group called Fusion GPS.
Fusion GPS, that's I guess run by the Democrats.
So it was a fake report, and it was about what? It was that there was a videotape that Putin had in his control of girls peeing on Trump or peeing on a bed with Trump, or Trump was in a room while girls peed on a bed Obama slept on. So because of that, Trump's going to turn treasonous because he didn't want to get embarrassed. Is that like really the crux of what this is?
Kind of.
So now he's a Russian agent?
Part of it. It was totally manufactured. So yeah, I guess he did stay in the same hotel that the Obamas did and decided to hire prostitutes to pee on him.
Or was it to pee on the bed?
I think everything.
Just pee everywhere.
Just lay on the bed.
Pee everywhere.
Just exactly. Golden showers, as they say.
Okay, so who gets this report? John McCain helps push this through, right?
Could you imagine going to Russia in a foreign language and then trying to explain golden showers? And right, it's just like, hey, Obama stayed here. I would like you to pee on me, and then it'll just be all over the bed, and that's okay. We'll roll around and have a good time. It's so bizarre. And then they videotaped it, and they had it, and they were holding it over his head. And
so now he signed over 20% of the United States uranium to Russia, right?
No,
that was because
with Podesta, that would be the Uranium One scandal, which will.
You're saying that was the Obama administration and Hillary Clinton and Podesta.
Yeah.
So the real Russian agents are Clinton, Podesta, Obama. Will have more latitude after these last elections, right? Remember that one. So
it would be the new Gowdy investigation.
So Barack Obama gets this report from Fusion GPS, and John McCain helps push this through the deep state. And then this gets to Comey first? Is that where it goes first?
It eventually gets into Comey, and then Comey presents it. But he also went to the FISA court to use that as a reason to spy on the Trump campaign.
So the FISA, oh, geez.
Yeah, let's not get too far out of the wood.
Yeah, let's not get... So FISA is given this so that they can get allowances to spy on the Trump campaign during the election.
Yeah, so I guess, what was it?
A fake report is used to now Watergate the Trump campaign.
Enemy of the State, like with Gene Hackman, Will Smith. So if you're going to use like that kind of the power of the federal government to go after somebody and find out what they're up to, yeah, you have to go through this FISA court. You have to get signed off, and it takes a lot of people. And you really got to be right. You can't afford to make mistakes like that. But they use that as the proof to spy on the Trump campaign and use that as to their advantage. And, I guess it would have gone away if Hillary would have won, but their backup plan was to use this as a reason to say that the whole election was manipulated by Trump and with help from the Russians. So
this is then what? To get Trump removed, but keep Pence in? So Pence stays in, or is Pence a part of it? Or just
overthrow the entire election and then get Hillary in.
How does that change the math?
Because if they cheated, if they could prove something beyond a reasonable doubt that with Russia's help that swung the election in Trump's favor, so that would make Hillary the winner.
All right, so because
they would say, she was the popular vote anyway, and they cheated her. So
we'll just make up new rules,
right? So yeah, it wouldn't have anything to do with Pence. They can impeach him.
Who was that did the new rules? That's Bill Maher, right? He does new rules.
I don't remember.
Yeah, like at the end of the show, new rules or something like that. Yeah, just new rules. We're gonna go popular vote. Just throw out the will.
Electoral college.
Come on. Okay, so Trump was spied on, and for 2.5 years, this whole country has kind of ground to a halt with these fever dreams, these ridiculous conspiracy theories. And while Oh, by the way, and the crux of it is that Russia bought fake Facebook. They bought Facebook ads that were anti-Hillary or pro-Trump. And so because Facebook had an advertisement, the election was rigged, but no votes were changed. There was really nothing to any of this ever.
Because they did part of the recount. I mean, yeah, they were trying to figure out if they got in there with the electronic voting. There was a number of different things, but none of it held any water. So all
right, so they tried a whole bunch of stuff. None of it worked. By the way, over here, Justin Herrera saying, ready for baseball season? Yes, Justin. If Trump is moved, then we're screwed either way because of our vice president. Well, like I said, none of that was going to happen. So anyway, the Mueller report comes through, and it basically says it's a big nothing burger, to quote Van Jones. Nothing here, never was here.
Well, there's probably collusion. A lot of juicy stuff. It just has nothing to do with collusion with the Russians, which was the whole point of the investigation.
And there were some people that were ensnared in this, like Manafort and Roger Stone,
Jerome Corsi.
So people were damaged around him because this was maybe the first reason for doing this was to prevent Trump from getting elected. The second reason was to get him thrown out of office. The third reason would be, what was the third reason? To make sure that no good people would want to work for him, to scare everybody that, you wear a red MAGA hat and it's MAGA country and you're one of these people that's out there lynching people in 2019 or something, because that's the new narrative. Well, that's Jussie Smollett. We'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
But, anybody affiliated with Donald Trump must be evil and must be brought down. And that's kind of the crux of what the media has been doing. The media, Hollywood, and that's what the crux of this Mueller report is.
Manufacturing, fear that, I guess, the president of the United States is under the thumb of Vladimir Putin and the Russia. I mean, that's a huge story. I mean, if it were true, if it had any basis in reality, which it apparently didn't.
This is just silly.
Some of us knew all along, and some of us kept pushing and hoping. And they dug. It was a fishing expedition to just find some reason to take him down. And they used the power of the deep state and the power of the media to work against him. Went through 2 years, and it's been a marathon, but it's finally looks like it's over.
Well, anyway, let's and I've said this before, and I really want to ask this question: is Twitter and Facebook, are they going to deplatform, just like people like Alex Jones and go down the list? There have been plenty of people who have been deplatformed and demonetized. Are you going to now deplatform and demonetize MSNBC, CNN, HBO, the Bulwark, the Atlantic, Esquire, New York Magazine, the New York Times, the Washington Post, the New Yorker, Saturday Night Live? Will all of these be deplatformed from social media and demonetized because they've been pushing for limiting fake news and conspiracy theories?
Yeah.
And if there's been a bigger fake news conspiracy theory than the Mueller report, than this fake Russian collusion hoax, I'd like to see it. And if that's not the case, then get rid of these rules, because they're only being selectively enforced on certain groups of people, which means they're not rules. They're very punitive, and they're very focused with a political bent and ideology, and they're nonsense on the surface. They're nonsense at their core, and they all need to be removed. Get more free speech, not less free speech. I'm going to keep calling for that. If you're not going to deplatform and demonetize all these people like MSNBC and CNN, HBO and Saturday Night Live that are making millions and millions and millions of dollars off of this fake news conspiracy theory, put Alex freaking Jones and his gay frogs back up there. Not because I love the man and everything that he does, but you're supposed to have free speech in this country. And if you say stupid stuff, you should be held accountable for it. And you should probably apologize and admit if you were wrong. And if not, then that serves as a public record of who you are, and people can choose to do business with you or not do business with you. You shouldn't be silenced and deplatformed and depersoned on the internet in a colluded effort. You want to talk about collusion? This is all anti-right, anti-libertarian. If you're not a hardcore leftist, social media has been skewed against you, which is why I really like the Tim Pool and Joe Rogan show that was done a couple of weeks ago with on the Joe Rogan podcast with the Twitter execs, and kind of reaching the conclusion that if you're not going to allow everybody an open opportunity in the public space to have their conversations, then you need to be regulated like a government utility. This is something that's going to be more along the lines of cable television or the FCC and radio. It cannot be allowed to continue unchecked the way that it has been, because it's completely selective in its enforcement. So anyway, just trying to give you a quick overview of this, just so we can kind of start putting a bow around this Mueller report. But anyway, while we're talking about selective justice, we did cover Adam Schiff. People are calling on him to resign because he was one of the loudest people pushing this collusion delusion with Donald Trump. So I don't know if you had any more to say on that one, or if you wanted to bounce over to the next
they sent him
fake
a letter.
news story.
Yeah, it was a big deal. So they had all the 9 members of all the Republicans on the Committee of Intelligence call for his resignation. So I'll just like to maybe give you a paragraph. So, dear Chairman Schiff, since prior to the inauguration of President Trump in January 2017, you have been at the center of a well-orchestrated media campaign claiming, among other things, the Trump campaign colluded with the Russian government. Indeed, before the appointment of Robert Mueller as special counsel, you alleged during one of your frequent television interviews that there was, quote, more than circumstantial evidence of collusion, but that you could not go into particulars. Your repeated public statements, which implied knowledge of classified facts supporting the collusion of allegations, occurred at the same time anonymous leaks of alleged intelligence and law enforcement information were appearing in the media. These leaks, often sourced to current or former administration or intelligence officials, appeared to support the collusion allegations and were purported to be related to ongoing investigations of President Trump and his associates. Goes on for a few more paragraphs, but it's pretty damning.
Well, Dan Bongino's tweet, Adam Schiff is an intergalactic laughingstock. If you're taking this man seriously, then you should seek the help of a qualified mental health professional. It's so interesting because you look over to the left here and see what's trending in the United States. I stand with Schiff.
Yeah, it's pretty disturbing.
It's completely one-sided what Twitter gives you. It's one-sided who gets banned off YouTube. It's one-sided who gets shut down on Facebook. It's hilariously Orwellian to see what's happening. If you want to see what we're ramping up for in this next election, you haven't seen anything yet. They're just testing the waters with the midterms and this stuff. I mean, how all of this, all of the gotcha moments that Adam Schiff has provided everybody, and to see what's trending, that Twitter wants people to think that I stand with Schiff is the major underlying cause of the groundswell of sentiment in the world right now in the United States.
Most of the people that are posting stuff are sock puppet accounts. I don't even think they're real people.
Give me a break. So anyway, we'll see what happens with Adam Schiff. Totally disgraced. Totally just narrative destroyed.
Yep.
Just like everybody else.
The findings of the special counsel conclusively refute your past and present assertions and have exposed you as having abused your position to knowingly promote false information, having damaged the integrity of this committee and undermined faith in U.S. government institutions. Your actions, both past and present, are incompatible with your duty as chairman of this committee, which alone in the House of Representatives has the obligation and authority to provide effective oversight of the U.S. intelligence community. As such, we have no faith in your ability to discharge your duties in a manner consistent with your constitutional responsibility and urge your immediate resignation as chairman of this committee. And that is sincerely all the members, Republican members of that committee. Pretty awesome. That's
pretty awesome. All right, so that's a quick hit on Adam Schiff.
Wow.
We'll see what happens with him. Let's move along because we got to get to the Mueller Madness bracket. That's the main reason why we're here today. What's the update on Jussie Smollett, who was just missed? I heard the news broke. Smollett. He's the charges are gone. I said, well, wow. What was the bombshell evidence that came through? I guess everybody was reporting the wrong stuff, and I guess they mistakenly put 16 charges against him, and it was all erroneous. So what was the new information? Apparently there was no new information. And I don't think this is going to go away. So what is the latest on Jussie Smollett? The actor from the show Empire who claimed he was attacked.
2 white guys that were in MAGA country. So Trump supporters, big racist Trump supporters that assaulted him and tried to pour bleach on him and put a noose on his neck. Of course, it turned out that it was his friends, his Nigerian friends, and he says that they were white guys, and since they were wearing ski masks, now he's actually claiming, I swear, they could have worn whiteface. And there's actually a picture of one of these brothers that he does have sort of a white face thing. I don't know if people can see that, but I mean, it's It's so bad. Like, really, you think that guy put on a ski mask and then you mistook that for?
Is that the Joker? Is that
trying? Yeah.
Is that like Heath Ledger's Joker? What am I even showing here? Are we certain that that's one of the Nigerian princes involved in this?
Yeah.
If you wire them $10,000, that they'll transfer $7 million to your bank account.
I mean, it's
such a ludicrous story. Now here's the angle I want to find out is when this came out, people have been blasted for talking about false flags and Rahm Emanuel in the White House saying you never want to miss an opportunity to capitalize on a crisis.
Never let a good crisis go to waste.
Never let a good crisis go to waste. Yeah, paraphrasing. But part of this was that Cory Booker and Kamala Harris, and there are pictures with Kamala Harris and Jussie Smollett together, and him quoting Michelle Obama, Barack Obama, Chicago, Rahm Emanuel, former chief of staff, Chicago, that as soon as this happened, Kamala Harris and Cory Booker were out there calling for hate crime legislation to ban nooses, to pass an anti-noose bill. What was? I
don't remember. It got out of hand in a hurry.
Yeah, what was charges dropped? Jussie Smollett. What was the? She claims she's confused. Anyway, I'm going to look this up, but give us the update on what's going on in the case. They're saying that maybe because
he just will not just confess. You messed up, brother. And it's time, and he just keeps double downing on trying to get everyone to believe him. But I mean, he's lost his base. Nobody's buying it. He's got and now he's got a PR team. This is the other news. So I think that they've, I remember right, I think they renewed this show, but he is being cut. And now his Hollywood career is pretty much over. He's hired a PR team to try to make him likable again. But maybe it would come with, why don't you confess? Tell us you messed up. Apologize. Spend, I don't know, like a lot of hours doing
at the Rainbow Push Coalition for 2 days that nobody can verify.
Yeah, and another thing is
Jesse Jackson.
Another update. Speaking of Rahm Emanuel, he's going to bill him for the entire case because they spent a ton of money. It's not worth $10,000 of bail money. That's just a drop compared to the time and money that was spent on this investigation.
Well, and
Chicago doesn't have a lot of money. They've been floating.
Chicago has a lot of real crime they need to be pursuing.
That too.
A lot of murders. It's like the murder capital of the United States, and they're misappropriating their resources, going after a phantom. And if you just to connect the dots here, this is from February 2nd, article out of The Hill. The Senate on Thursday cleared legislation to make lynching a federal crime. The bill, introduced by Senators Kamala Harris, Democrat from California, and Cory Booker, Democrat, New Jersey, and Tim Scott from Republican, South Carolina, makes lynching punishable as a hate crime. The bill previously passed the Senate in December, but it did not clear the then GOP-controlled House before the end of the 115th Congress. It passed up on Thursday by a voice vote. Booker said that, quote, lynching is not a relic of the past, end quote, pointing to the attack on Empire actor Jussie Smollett in Chicago. Quote, justice for the victims of lynching has been too long denied, and we look forward. And as we look forward, we must collectively in this body make a strong, unequivocal statement, he said. Harris, speaking from the Senate floor, added that lynching is a part of the country's uncomfortable history that had never been truly acknowledged or reconciled with. I mean, I've lived almost 4 decades on this planet, and the number of lynching stories that I can point to after the 50s is what? Can you name a single?
No, it was a good PR move, I guess, for them to do that.
We all know that happened, and we all know it was bad. Is this something rampant in the country that needs addressed?
No.
At all? Anywhere? No. Is anyone currently doing this?
It was just them trying to, seize that moment. And,
so did they seize the moment, or did they create the moment? Because actor Jussie Smollett also mailed himself. He mailed himself through the public mail, through the federal mail, making this a federal hate crime charge. And the president is looking at pursuing charges federally because he used the mail to mail himself threatening letters to disparage heterosexual people, white people, Republicans, because he said as a black, gay, Democrat, he's being targeted in a hate crime. So that means he, the gay black actor, is committing a hate crime against white Republican heterosexuals. Kamala Harris connected to this to jump out there with Cory Booker to push for lynching stuff and be quoting and citing and referencing Jussie Smollett. Were they in collusion? Do you think that this was a coordinated effort and they knew it darn? Do you think they seized on the opportunity, or do you think they concocted the opportunity? And I know we're speculating, and we got to see what they just sealed up and tried to make. You know, they had 16 charges in the police department. Rahm Emanuel, I thought he might have been acting, but he kind of does seem genuinely pissed off about this. Like he was blindsided by this favor the Obamas pulled behind the scenes. Could they have created this as their own false flag to push the narrative to get a Kamala Harris or a Cory Booker to rise and ascend up to the top of the Democratic Party to take on Donald Trump as a coordinated effort with this Hollywood actor and the help of the liberal media? If we were guessing, we're only guessing.
It surprised me, but I don't think it was. I think it was too sloppily done. I think if this was, if Obama was in power and they did try to coordinate this thing, I think they would have done a much better job, and they would have had the cops and Rahm Emanuel in the know and on their side from the get-go.
Anyway, it's just speculation at this point, but I just want to connect back because Cory Booker, Kamala Harris, darlings of the Obama administration and trying to seize power of the Democratic Party, just either completely jumped on this or were part of it from the beginning. I don't know. But it's worth pointing out that something completely they could also come up with a horse and buggy legislation because, there are severe injustices done to the horse and buggy business by the Henry Ford and those evil capitalists back 100 years ago. This must be reconciled. Obviously, I know the car is I'm just saying, we're talking about milkmen and cars and nooses, things that are just out of the daily practice of anything you see. It was completely irrelevant and it all popped, and then everybody wanted to jump on it, and it's more egg in the face for the people that were lying about it. But the problem with Jussie Smollett is, did he apologize? His attorney's on there saying that they're considering suing the city of Chicago. Yeah, and of course I welcome that. Please do. Now that's what a guilty person would say, to say, well, we're exploring all options, including a lawsuit, and they better not do it. That would be the dumbest thing they could do if the evidence as we know it turns out to be true, that those 16 charges. Now, everybody is innocent until proven guilty. I'll say that, but I haven't seen one piece of evidence in this, including these brothers purchasing the red hats and the rope, knowing that they're friends of the Empire actor. I've seen nothing to support his claim about 3 a.m. in a winter snowstorm in Chicago that two people jumped out while he's getting a Subway sandwich, and now it's MAGA country in Chicago. None of the story adds up. None of it makes sense. So I don't know. I guess I'm just waiting to see if federal charges come in from the Trump administration. If you were a betting man, Blake, would you bet on it? Yeah,
but he's not out of the woods. Even if they did drop this case, federally, and then they're going to look into, I guess the FBI is going to look at what's going on in Chicago.
All right. So once again, that's another story.
Too corrupt for even Chicago. Rahm Emanuel was like, no. Okay, we had our problems, but we're not going that far. We're not letting him just get off the hook, and then we're going to seal the records. That was above and beyond. And then how interesting that it ties into Michelle Obama's chief of staff.
Yes.
And then this prosecutor who's been gathered a fortune from George Soros. And it's all connected. It's pretty bad. And but it doesn't look like they're going to get away with it. So
Tommy's over here in the Facebook group saying he's jumped for a Subway sandwich. Please. Now, if it was a Jimmy John's, then maybe I'd believe it. That's kind of funny.
Jimmy John's is bad.
And by the way, while we're talking about Twitter, we're talking about censorship. Another article from The Hill I just wanted to reference really quick. Now that Facebook has come out saying that they're going to try to ban posts for white nationalism and white separatism, whatever you think you define those to be, because it's really just anything not left-wing hardcore. Twitter is considering labeling Trump tweets that violate rules. So now they're going to, it's a complete regulation attempt of free speech. It's trying to censor, it's trying to close the Overton window, if you will, on allowable speech. And it's just kind of nonsense. Just another quick hitter before we get to Mueller madness. Blake, any other top news stories we want to cover besides opening day?
It really is. I mean, it is the first day of Sweet 16 March Madness here, 2019.
Oh, yeah. Let me tell you about this, too. We have a TNAM food and drink group. It's a private TNAM food and drink group. We're doing Munch Madness. This is the top 64 cereals. The ones that have made it to the Sweet 16 are Kellogg's Raisin Bran. Let's play real quick. Kellogg's Raisin Bran versus
Mythical Morning. Okay. I know they stole our idea again. What's with these guys?
I don't even
leave us alone.
I've never even seen it. Did they steal another idea?
Maybe not Good Mythical Morning. What's that?
Did they steal another one of our ideas?
No, I don't think so.
I don't know. We've been doing more. See if they cooked a corned beef one there.
Exactly.
Okay, this is the Sweet 16. These are the matchups we have left. It's called TNAM Food and Drink because the news always matters. The New American Media, TNAM Food and Drink on Facebook. Search for the group, find it. Let me know if it's Kellogg's Raisin Bran versus Fruity Pebbles. Who do you pick?
Fruity Pebbles.
Oh, hi, Cheyenne. Thanks for watching. Fruity Pebbles wins that one. Frosted Flakes versus Boo Berry.
Frosted Flakes.
They're great.
Yeah.
Okay, in the South bracket, we have Crunch Berries versus Corn Pops.
Crunch Berries. Is it just Crunch Berries or is it Captain Crunch with Crunch Berries?
I've seen it labeled different, small font, big font.
Either
Captain
way,
Crunch Berries.
Corn Pops. They're okay.
I'll take Corn Pops, but I would not be mad if Crunch Berries advanced. Cocoa Krispies versus Lucky Charms.
That was the toughest one. That's the closest battle. Everything else is, but I got to go Lucky Charms on that one.
I'm going to go Cocoa Krispies. Snap, Crackle, and Cocoa. All right, Munch Madness in the East. We got regular Captain. And by the way, we had an upset. We had Peanut Butter Captain Crunch got knocked out. This one went to overtime.
I think they were overrated. They were overranked. It's like the Virginia of the...
Cheyenne is saying our winner is diabetes.
Yeah.
Well played. Don't worry, our next one might be either candy bars or liquors or beers. I don't know. We haven't figured it out yet, but it's kind of fun. We've been having a blast with the tournament. Okay, so regular Captain Crunch. This is in the East bracket of Munch Madness. I really took the time to put this together, believe it or not. Captain Crunch versus Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
It's a tough one, but I got to go with Cinnamon Toast Crunch, even though I wouldn't want to eat that.
I do. I want some right now.
It's a guilty pleasure. Right.
I
haven't had that in years and years and years, but
I bet it's going to show up very soon. Cinnamon Toast Crunch, I would go there too. Fruit Loops versus Cocoa Puffs.
It's a tough. I gotta go Fruit Loops on that one.
I'm gonna go Cocoa Puffs.
Corn Puffs I'm
gonna go Cocoa Puffs.
Cocoa Pebbles I like. But,
all right, here's one in the Midwest bracket: Golden Grams versus Honey Nut Cheerios.
Golden Grams easily. I think that's probably my pick for the champion.
You think Golden Grams is gonna take her down?
I think so. That and Fruity Pebbles, but I don't know if they're playing each other in the championship. So that's gonna be a tough one.
Okay, well, yeah, I would.
My two favorites.
Yeah, I think Apple Cinnamon Cheerios got a raw deal, losing out to Honey Nut Cheerios in the bracket beforehand. Golden Grams got through Rice Krispies, which was tough. I'm going to say Golden Grams. That's easy for me. And then the final matchup here, I believe final matchup, Honey Bunches of Oats versus Cocoa Pebbles.
Honey Bunches of Oats. Cocoa Pebbles are great, but there's more complexity with the Honey Bunches of Oats.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Honey Bunches of Oats as well. We have Cocoa Puffs, Cocoa Pebbles, and Cocoa Krispies.
Too many.
Oh my gosh,
Pebbles are better than the Krispies.
I made sure to put a chocolate cereal in each bracket so they could battle and see which ones come out. I mean,
that's right. Good Mythical Morning is doing their chocolate bracket today.
I don't want to hear about these guys. I've never watched a show and everybody's like, oh,
huge, and they've been around for like 10 years, 15
years. Yeah, that's cool for them.
Rocking it. All
right. Anyway, so let's get to the bracket that counts over here. But go to the group. It's TNAM Food and Drink on Facebook. It's still pretty fun. Let's play Mueller Madness.
Whatever.
Okay, so how are we gonna do this? I
think we should just do one section at a time. We'll get to, and then we'll just do the final four at the end.
Okay, the 1 seed versus the 8 seed. Number 1, Rachel Maddow, MSNBC host, who is calling for nonstop collusion rants. With her nonstop collusion rants coming to nothing versus number 8 seed Ana Navarro, contributor CNN. She says it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas and it's beginning to look a lot like collusion.
Well, it's interesting to note right away. Rachel Maddow's there's so many quotes that they didn't really even put one specific one because it was pretty much every day. The Ana Navarro, who I think is pretty boring establishment hack. That actually is a pretty funny line. I got to give her credit on that one. So it's good, but it cannot do the years of the daily damage that Maddow did. So it's not even close.
It's not even close. Ana Navarro is pretty awful from the clips I've seen, and I've been weaning myself off of the bought and paid for fake news media for a little while now as we're doing our own stuff. Yeah, Rachel Maddow wins that one easy. You know, she staked her whole career on this. She thought she was some sort of rock star, and she played her game. They made their millions, but watch for those ratings to tank now. Watch.
Oh, they already are.
Yo,
There's going to be an
yeah.
exodus over the next coming couple of years here.
Now this one, so Rachel Maddow wins. We're gonna get that. We'll agree there. Next one is number 4, John Oliver, host of Last Week Tonight on HBO, versus number 5, Donnie Deutsch, MSNBC contributor. John Oliver, one of the quotes, "A scandal with all the potential ramifications of Watergate." Now I'll tell you what, that's true. Except it was Comey, it was Obama, it was Clinton. It was the deep state. It was McCain. It was all of those people who were perpetrating all the fake FISA warrants and all the spying. Yeah, I think this is way bigger than Watergate versus Donnie Deutsch saying Donald Trump has been owned by the Russians because of money.
Yeah, it's a in that one, I got to take Donnie Deutsch. Even though, John Oliver deserves to be hammered. I'm
going to go with John Oliver. I think he.
Watergate is such a minor thing. I mean, I can't believe a president, stepped down for that. Nowadays, that would just be like a Tuesday.
Now, I used to, as a Tuesday. Now, Donnie Deutsch, I used to like some of his shows, maybe 10 years ago, like with his with his economic stuff. He was pretty, he gets Looney Tune for a while. But John Oliver, he's very one-sided. He puts together a nice little report once a week, but it's full of just silly straw man argument. I'm going to put John Oliver advance. Like I'll defer to you on the next tie that we have, but I'm going to push Oliver up against Maddow in the next.
To be criticized. Yeah, I mean, I used to love him on Daily Show. I thought he did great right
away. He does some good stuff
tonight, but yeah, it is very one-sided. And I appreciated where Jon Stewart was at least fair. I think it's part of the reason he stepped down, got out of there, was because he's under too much pressure by the Democrats to push their talking points.
How about, okay, so then from John Oliver and Rachel Maddow, who advances out of that bracket? Maddow, easy. Okay, down at the bottom of the cable division, we got Morning bracket. Joe versus John Brennan. Number 3, Morning Joe of MSNBC. Scarborough and Mika, quote, "The noose is tightening." Now, everybody said that one. Oh, what is the fascination with the left and nooses? And I know Morning Joe claimed like he used to be Republican. He's far from it today. So anyway, what is the fascination with nooses? I've never...
It's the party of the KKK, as
the Democrats
pointed out.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know.
Versus number 6, John Brennan, the national security analyst, and over with MSNBC. Friday, March 8th is the day that the grand jury indictments come down.
Again, Morning Joe needs to be smashed, but I think John Brennan was, extremely dangerous. This is a major guy who doesn't have any info. He's just making stuff up and giving credibility to MSNBC. And he did a lot more damage, I believe, than Morning Joe.
Yeah, I mean, the NSA.
And Micah.
Yeah, Brennan.
Stupid show.
So Brennan's going to have to go through there. He's going to win that one. This one is Chris Hayes. Remember who Chris Hayes, number 7 seed. Chris Hayes was a jerk to us at the RNC in Cleveland. He wouldn't talk with us. We just wanted a minute or two of his time. We were going to be respectful with him, as we were with everybody. We talked with a lot of cats out there. But Chris Hayes was kind of a
wiener. I don't like. Yeah, he's
strange. Wormy.
He's naughty journal. Yeah,
he was wormy.
He's a hack. No,
Chris Hayes, MSNBC host, saying a cornered president storms out as the Mueller probe closes in. Versus number 2, Don Lemon, CNN anchor. The walls are closing in.
Boy, they're both very similar. Who do you think did more damage? So overall, I mean, Lemon's I don't know how anybody watches either one of these shows. You can't take either one of them seriously at all.
But Don Lemon had the bigger platform. Don Lemon was kind of the
or is Chris Hayes right after Rachel Maddow?
But wasn't he the face of so much of this? He was that new rising star in CNN. He was just constantly heralded as the voice of reason in the fake news media. Chris Hayes has always been playing second, third, fourth, fifth fiddle. Don Lemon was like the alternate to Rachel Maddow. It was kind of Maddow and Lemon.
Yet Anderson Cooper. Yeah, it's tough to say.
Yeah, you got
So
Cooper,
Jake
but
Tapper, then Don Lemon. I don't even know where he fits in. I'm just surprised that he's got any credibility at all.
well, I would say Lemon would advance out of this.
All right, that's fine. You can take. I'm
Not sold on it. And then
Chris Hayes is pretty pathetic.
So if it's Lemon versus Brennan, national security analyst.
Still say Brennan. He's such a creep.
All right, so
Looks
then
just looks like a super villain. It really does.
Well,
Real life super. I can't.
There's a lot of real life supervillains in this bracket, I think.
Yeah.
But okay, so that puts John Brennan versus Don Lemon.
Rachel Maddow.
Okay, so it's Brennan versus Maddow.
Yeah, I think Maddow. Time after time, she has to take it.
Time after time.
Right.
That's enough for YouTube to suspend my account.
Oh yeah.
Violated copyright terms. I used 1.5 seconds of an out of key. Time after time. Okay, so Rachel Maddow is going to come out of the cable division. Next up, we have the 1 seed Bill Kristol.
This is the print brackets.
The print bracket.
People that write articles, magazines, newspapers, what have you.
All right, this is Bill Kristol, editor at large at the Bulwark.
Number 1 seed.
Mr. Never Trump, Mr. Collusion, and Mr. Wrong versus Natasha Bertrand, writer at The Atlantic. She touted circumstantial evidence of collusion and predicted Manafort conviction would ensnare Trump.
I'd say Bill Kristol. It's major stuff, but he's pretty much been an awful neocon for a long time, and he's been destroyed. He was a heavy never Trumper, and even though that quote isn't so damning, he's a bad dude.
I think is it fair to say we're not going off of the quotes, we're going off of their entire body of work over the past 2 years. Because if it's just one quote, maybe we're judging on different criteria, and I think it would be important to let. No way that someone that's been doing the amount of damage to this country that Maddow and Lemon and Hayes
part of the project for the New American Century. I mean, he's like a really
high up
bad guy. Yeah.
Okay, so then Bill Kristol advances as the 1 seed.
Yeah.
Next up, 4 versus 5. 4 is Ryan Lizza,
Yep.
correspondent with Esquire, having
Jonathan Chait of New York Magazine.
Ryan, having feverishly speculated about collusion, said it was no big deal once the Mueller report dropped. Okay, that's silly. And Jonathan suggesting Trump had been a Russian asset since 1987.
Yeah, he's kind of an embarrassing hack. He's not really that interesting to follow, but he went above and beyond trying to dig for stuff, and so he really looked pretty bad. I think I got to give it to Chait on that one.
I could be all right with that.
And it's the whole body of evidence. Ryan Lizza, I don't know that much about, but yeah, he's also another hack.
So down from that, Paul Krugman, columnist of the New York Times.
Heavy hitters, yeah. Paul Krugman versus
Jennifer Rubin, blogger with the Washington Post. So the 3 seed Krugman says there's really no question about Trump-Putin collusion. Well, there actually was, and you were wrong. The answer was wrong, and you're wrong. Number 6, Jennifer Rubin saying evidence of collusion was her constant watchword.
Yeah, she's really not very bright. I don't know why she's up there. She's for some reason they think she's got credibility, but I never really saw it. Paul Krugman should know better. Yeah, he's an economist. He's a embarrassing defender of Keynesian economics. I got a lot of issues with Paul from that point. So I got to give Krugman moving in, especially there's no question about the Trump-Putin collusion. Really, okay, he really looked bad. And he's a lot more educated and intelligent than Rubin is. All
right, I'll take that. Number 2, Max Boot, columnist, Washington Post, saying there's copious evidence of collusion versus the number 7 seed, Adam Davidson, writer of The New Yorker. We are in the end stages of the Trump presidency. He wrote in April 2018. Max Boot versus Adam Davidson.
Statement. Again, I don't like Max Boot. He's a member of the Council on Foreign Relations. I don't consider him an American. I consider him he's a spook. I follow him on Twitter. He's pretty bad. He's a
hardcore globalist.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of bad things coming from that guy.
And globalists typically want to take the United States down so that their global power structure can supplant.
To their own. Yeah, they're not loyal to the American people. So
that's why this call for nationalism is so silly. Like to equate anyone is like national. I don't know that term. It's like it's baseball season. I root for my team. I'm in America. I'm rooting for my team. I want my team to do well. I don't want us to go, spewing toxic junk into the rivers and the oceans, like just because it's my team. I want to be like normal and reasonable and respectful about it, but I want my team to win. That's why we care about opening day. That's why we care about sports. So this whole call to nationalism versus globalism, it really is only those two. You're either a nationalist or a globalist, right? I mean, are there things in between, like when you do the NAFTA, trying to unite continents versus, in Brexit, you're trying to get the euro together with all these little Scandinavian countries. Just break it down to brass tacks. If it, once again, the brackets go together in the championship game, it's either a nationalist or a globalist. I want my politicians local and easy to fire if they're not effective or if they're corrupt. I don't want some unelected globalist bureaucratic shills concocting global taxation schemes that cannot be replaced and we can't get out of. Like, who would want that? Someone that sold their soul for some money. That's who. How is that better? That's not better to me. Am I missing something?
No, I think you're right on.
Okay, fair.
Good.
So Max Boot comes out of that then?
Yeah.
Boot versus Krugman.
I don't think a lot of people know who Max Boot is. He's just somebody who shows up on these shows, I guess. And columnists, Washington Post. I think Krugman has more credibility with a lot of people. So I think when he says stuff and he says there's really no question about Trump-Putin collusion, that's a pretty damning quote. So I think he goes down. I think he's should advance on. All
right, so that's going to be Krugman versus Crystal.
Yeah, because on that one, it's Crystal versus Chait. And again, Crystal.
Overall. Oh, yeah, sorry, I jumped over that.
Yeah, no problem.
I mean, I'm assuming it's Bill Crystal.
Chait is, so Crystal. And then
Crystal versus Krugman.
I say Krugman.
Crystal Krugman.
Again,
Crystal Krugman sounds like an awful porn star name. Crystal Krugman.
Interesting. But no, I don't know. Crystal's taking a big hit with his credibility. He used to be on that the old conservative platform. What was it called? What was the magazine?
Daily Standard?
Yes. Weekly Standard.
Weekly Standard, yeah.
That was him. Bill Crystal. So he's really dropped off the last couple of years. I don't even think he was on TV for a while. So he's kind of lost his he's not very relevant anymore. So I think Krugman still
wins the bracket,
holding on to his credibility. He's a 3 seed. I think that's all right. 3 seed to take on Maddow in the Final Four.
All right, and who advances between Crystal and Maddow? That's print versus cable.
Do we want to go? That's going to be the champion of half the bracket.
It's a Final Four. All right, we'll hold off on that for a second. Over in the other one, this is the network division. Actor Alec Baldwin of Saturday Night Live, the #1 seed who acted out the left's fantasies of Trump's downfall in a really kind of unfunny and really angry portrayal of it. It just wasn't. It just, I don't know.
It could have been funny, but they really went above and beyond to just be.
You go past funny,
horrible. Yeah, it's not. It's unwatchable.
Angry, unwatchable. See,
Live fan.
Where I never liked. You're either a Leno guy or you were a Letterman guy. I was always a Leno guy, and I liked that Leno would hit with his left hand and his right hand. He'd get both sides. He'd get Team Republican, Team Democrat. It's been a long time since people have really done that. This overboard, do everything to protect your side, barely crack any jokes or poke fun at the team that you're on. I mean, look, I do a sports show called The Unhappy Hour, Indians, Cavs, Browns, and Buckeyes. And if it's called The Unhappy Hour, if you can't poke fun at yourself a little bit from time to time with losing seasons, winless seasons, and just generations of ineptitude, what's the point? So I think Baldwin kind of personifies what's wrong with 2019 comedy and political comedy in general. He's going up against Brian Ross, former correspondent ABC, who was suspended by ABC for misreporting collusion.
Yeah, I remember that. So I think this is an easy pick here for Baldwin moving on.
Easy pick.
Yeah.
Easy pick. This is a 4 versus a 5 seed. We have Chuck Lorre. Chuck is the producer of The Big Bang Theory.
Producer. Yeah, a lot of stuff. 2.5 Men. He's a giant rock star.
He's a big deal. Yeah. Kind of a big deal. And he flashed an anti-Trump prayer in his sitcom's credits in October versus Jimmy Kimmel, host Jimmy Kimmel Live on ABC is the 5 seed, saying the president appears to be on a collusion course with the law.
Yes, I gotta make Jimmy, and as Jimmy is somebody I used to love,
I'm gonna go Jimmy.
I'm disappointed Not nearly as bad as some of the other ones.
But Jimmy's been awful too. You know, anytime there's a crisis, he takes his show into this completely unfunny, just completely unfunny, tears streaming, never miss an opportunity to capitalize on a crisis. And because something bad happened, we all need to turn in our rights and freedoms.
Yeah,
if you've ever wanted to see a puppet on a string, you see it time in and time out with this guy. I've liked a lot of the stuff that he's done.
He sold his soul to the big money of ABC. Yeah, he went from like Ben Stein, like who is this rock star guy? The Man Show. He was like the roast master extraordinaire, like one of the most funny and talented people out there, period. And then he went to get this ABC job, and then he just fell off the planet for me. And then, it's disappointing when he gets onto these hot issues and he takes weird stances on them. And then this is one of them. And now he's getting burned, but he's moving on in our bracket to take on Alec Baldwin.
That's true. Alec Baldwin versus Jimmy Kimmel.
You want to start there? Yeah, why not? So out of those two, this one I'm going to give to Baldwin because Saturday Night Live, week in, week out. I mean,
who played Obama? The fact that we don't even know kind of says it all. He skated for 8 years.
I forgot it was Jay Farrow. Was he on there? He was on there for a few years, but I think he left.
Well, it was a little bit like, remember, multiple people. What was the controversy?
Killam, or I forget how you pronounce his name.
But there was, remember,
because they weren't.
Phil Hartman did Bill Clinton, and then it was
no, that was
Daryl Hammond.
Yeah.
No, but it was Phil Hartman.
Did he do?
Then he died. He got killed by his wife.
Okay, I remember Daryl Hammond. I don't remember.
It was Daryl Hammond. It was Phil Hartman. Phil Hartman running and jogging in the short shorts and eating the French fries and the bag of fast food.
That was a legendary sketch.
So I mean, you think of Chevy Chase as President Ford. Who did Reagan? I can't think of who did Reagan off the top.
That's kind of the dark ages for
Bush was Dana Carvey's Bush might be the most famous, the best. Now George W. Bush, wasn't that Daryl Hammond also? It was Will Ferrell for a minute.
But I thought he did it most of it. I don't remember.
Well, because then he left and he did the Hollywood thing, and was it Daryl Hammond came back? Anyway, I mean, when you think of iconic, I think Hammond's Dana Carvey. I think we're doing a bracket of let's do a bracket of Saturday Night Live presidential. Now I did like that girl that played Hillary. Oh, she was great. She played a great, crazy Hillary. You got the crush on her. Yeah, you got the hots.
I used to, but I guess she's still a lesbian. No, she's a lesbian.
What is that?
That ruined that whole thing.
Because now you can't envision yourself in a relationship with her.
I don't know.
Well, anyway, it's 2019. Anything goes. Right. Anyway, back to, we're not on a Saturday Night Live bracket, but I guess we could do that. That'd be fun. So Jimmy Kimmel versus Alec Baldwin, that is tough. I mean, Alec is like the face of like this unfunny, Trump,
over-the-top, horrible,
angry thing, but Jimmy Kimmel does it 5 times a week, and he's pushed for all this legislation and all this stupid stuff, kind of blurring the lines between late night funny guy, That's tough. I could see it either way because I think Kimmel's pretty awful.
I don't think Kimmel's consistently does things. I just think when he does, it makes an impact, and we talk about it.
Look, I'll go with Alec Baldwin. He'll advance up to the top
because
there
he's
into the
literally
final,
playing Trump and
the great
making
8.
it look terrible.
Well, yeah,
and not being like there's a certain funny and respectful comedy. I mean, yeah, well, like Dana Carvey, where George Bush like enjoyed his impersonation.
Well, it's like they said. I think I heard Steven Crowder, who, by the way, does a great Trump impersonation. His Trump is way better than Baldwin's, and I think he's pretty hilarious. If you haven't been checking his stuff out, Louder with Crowder, it's just it's the best late night show out there. It's go on YouTube to find it, or on what's he on CRTV now, or the Blaze TV, whatever it's called.
Yeah, I think so.
But I think I heard him talking about it, saying, in order for these satires to be funny, you kind of have to have the actor like the person that you're playing a little bit, or find some likable qualities so that comes through in the portrayal.
I think even
and there is
Dana
none
Carvey
of
said
that.
once.
Yeah, so I think that's true for anybody imitating someone. If you're just doing it to like crap on them, it comes off as mean-spirited and unfunny, just like half of Letterman's stuff. It was just like mean-spirited, unfunny, lacking a punch. It was just a stale kind of, I got it. You don't like him. Next. Anyway, speaking of, moving on, we'll go to Stephen Colbert, the number 3 seed, host of The Late Show on CBS, who said, "No collusion is Trump's aloha. It means both hello and I'm guilty. Aloha." And Ken Delanian, intelligence reporter of NBC, a 6 seed, saying the Trump Tower meeting revelations, quote, present the first evidence of actual collusion.
Well, I'm not even really familiar with Ken Delanian. And again, Stephen Colbert, like Alec Baldwin, just vicious attacks.
So that was Gonzaga versus...
day. And somebody also who I loved on The Daily Show did a good job with his own show after. I didn't watch it a lot because I think there was, because he's playing a character that it was funny, but not, that was good. But yeah, he really made his name by going and just the anti-Trump thing. And I think, just night after night. I mean, even then when he was apologized, when people are asking, okay, you going to apologize now that you guys were wrong with this collusion thing? And he said, no, I'll apologize that he's a terrible president. I mean, just nasty. So, I think this is an easy pick for Colbert.
I'll go with Colbert as well. Then this is the 2 versus the 7 seed. This might be one of the toughest we've had. This is Joy Behar versus Avenatti, Michael Avenatti.
Yeah.
So Joy Behar is co-host of The View on ABC. Michael Avenatti is Stormy Daniels' lawyer and a man who recently got caught up in some problems. But anyway, Joy Behar saying, quote, he goes to jail, he goes to jail, he goes to jail. And then Michael Avenatti said he told Trump Jr. they don't have silver spoons or gold toilets in the joint. Who advances from Joy Behar and Michael Avenatti? Once again, I'm not judging it solely on the quote.
Yeah, and not on the quote either with this one, even though they're interesting. But I think Joy Behar is the biggest bitch on TV. I can't stand her. She is so horrible, nasty human being. And I can't say enough bad things about her, really. I hate to say it, but she's terrible.
I don't consume a lot of her content, so I'm just going to defer that a lot of what you're saying is correct from what the clips I've seen. I don't subject myself to it on a large daily basis, but I would go for Avenatti on this one.
You don't watch The View every day?
I would. Yeah.
She makes it unwatchable. I can't believe they let her on here.
I would go with Avenatti on this one. I'll defer to Behar. I could let that. But
Avenatti, I kind of wanted to move on because it's Avenatti. But
he's a superstar slime ball.
Yep.
And he recently just got being nominated, if you will, pushed out there as a potential presidential candidate, and now he's been wrapped up in a case regarding a shakedown of Nike, which is hilarious because Nike and Kaepernick shook down the NFL, and Stormy Daniels was trying to shake down the president. It's just, I want more of them. I want to see more of them. So right. I would go with Avenatti here. But if you think Behar should advance to the 2 seed, I'm fine with it because I think they're both going to lose to Colbert.
Trashing the president, right?
Who advances from Colbert and Behar? I'll give you that one.
God, that's a tough one.
That's what I'm saying.
So much farther in.
3 versus 2 seed. Is this our?
I think Colbert might have been more damaging on his nightly basis. Joy Behar certainly is awful. But I don't know if she consistently day after day after day. I'm sure they ran The View, did their whatever subjects, and it wasn't always, hey, let's talk about the president today. So I might have to take Colbert, although Joy Behar, definitely deserves to move on. But I think it's got to be Colbert here.
Okay, I'm fine moving Colbert up, and so then this is Colbert versus.
Alec Baldwin.
Are we going to hold off on this? Hold on. No, yeah. Alec Baldwin versus Colbert.
For the winner of the network bracket.
Yeah, winner of the network bracket.
Well, on this one, I would go with Colbert because he's on 5 nights a week versus Baldwin, who's on maybe 3 times a month. 3-4 times a month.
But this is kind of the Kimmel. This is the Kimmel Baldwin thing, though. Who's worse, Kimmel or Colbert? Because Kimmel didn't advance past Baldwin.
No.
But you're saying Colbert would take Baldwin down?
Yes, just by the frequency. Because Colbert was pretty much probably targeted Trump in every single monologue of 5 days a week for 2 years versus Baldwin, who did a horrible over-the-top Trump impersonation, but Saturday Night Live is only on maybe once a week during 9 months of the year. I don't even know.
No, I'm okay with that. The quantity.
Yeah.
So we got Colbert advancing from the network division. Over here, this is the Twitterati division. 1 versus 8. Benjamin.
With this, I'm not even really that.
I'm not familiar with him either. So
fellow at the
White's,
Brookings
Wittis, senior fellow at the Brookings Institute. Boom, he wrote. His booms fizzled. Versus Molly McHugh, information warfare expert, an 8 seed. Insta expert who claimed everything with this White House involves collusion.
Well, this is a tough one. I actually am not familiar with either of these people. And I don't know why Benjamin would. I follow a lot of these people on Twitter. I never heard of him. So I haven't seen like consistent, like awful things. Or I'm going, I can't believe this guy's, tweeting. So I'm surprised he's a 1 seed. And I don't know him. So I'm almost ready to go for the upset with Molly, but just based on the quotes, because I don't know the history.
I'm going to go with you on that. Let's push Molly through there.
Big upset.
Yeah, the 8 seed shocks the world. I'm not familiar with either of them, but it is a worse quote. Everything with this White House involves collusion. So if we have reason to think that this Benjamin, he's a 1 seed, so he must be awful. But he might be so awful he's obscure and nobody knows him. But I think either of them is going to lose to the person underneath them in the bracket, the 4 versus 5 seed. You have Alyssa Milano at 4, who launched a site to, quote, hold the Trump administration accountable for collusion with Russia, versus Seth Abramson, professor, University of New Hampshire, 5 seed, whose outlandish theories about Russian, Mideast, Trumpian collusion took him to the 5 seed.
Yeah, I've seen both of them on Twitter. Alyssa Milano, hey, we all had a big crush on her in the 80s, right? That was a long time ago.
And then we found out she was a lesbian.
A political hack. Is she also?
No, but why would that change if I had a crush on her or not?
Well, you could try.
That's what I'm trying to figure.
What? Pray the gay way? I don't know.
No, there's no conversion. It's just, attractive's attractive. And
right.
I was surprised that you had such a crush on that Saturday Night Live girl, Kate Beckinsale, or whatever her name is. Jarek McKinnon. Is that the girl's
and she was
name?
Also on the Ghostbusters, right? She played the.
Pretend you don't know her body of work very well. Emphasis on body. Of course. Anybody relatively our age grew up, had a crush on Alyssa Milano, but her stuff with those pink hats and all this Me Too stuff. And look, at the core of Me Too, like trying to call out like disgusting sexual, advances and power trips, the likes of Bill Clinton made very famous. I think the actual deeds are way worse than joking with somebody on a tour bus. The locker room talk of, you want to hear talks about some phallic conversation. When is the last time you got around a group of friends that are all girls and you're around like 3, 4, 5 of them and they're letting it rip? I mean, guys talk about girls talk about guys, and everybody's into whatever they're into. And, I think the deed makes something more disgusting than talking about having attraction and stuff. So I think at the core of the Me Too movement, there's obviously stuff. Nobody wants to see anything that's rape. Nobody wants to see any child abuse. Nobody wants to be like shamed and just degraded over, the power trips of the Harvey Weinsteins and the Bill Cosbys and by the way, the Cardi B's who drug and rob men, anything that involves sexuality and criminal activity should be called out. But to then make this ridiculous leap because Trump used the P word, he needs to be impeached for it. It's like you have jumped the shark. If we're talking about sitcoms, Alyssa Milano, you pulled a Happy Days and you jumped the shark on that one. That's a big leap between calling out rape and calling out legitimate sexual abuse versus some rough around the edges New York businessman who digs tail. So anyway, I think Alyssa Milano has had way more hits that I'm aware of. I would have to have her come out of this bracket, the 4 versus 5, to go up against Molly McHugh.
I'm not going to put too much emphasis on it. I don't know. Alyssa Milano, I don't take her too seriously. A lot of people do. Seth Abramson, yes, he has more credibility because he's a professor. He's actually written a book. He's made a lot of money.
Didn't Cardi B write a book too?
I don't know.
I
really don't know.
just
But Seth
that.
Abramson, he's actually capitalized on this whole fiasco.
Okay, so you're saying
he's always shrieking on Twitter. He's pretty pathetic.
So you're saying I pushed Alyssa out of the bracket a little too quick. It went to overtime, and Seth should come out.
I mean, that would be my opinion, but again, I'm not.
It's fine. I think the winner's not going to come from this bracket. Seth Abramson versus Molly McHugh. You have to push Abramson out to the Elite Eight.
Yeah.
Okay.
So write a book. I should look him up because I know he's written something about that.
Well, down here in the bottom part, this is the 3 seed Kathy Griffin, comedian. Just shut the F up and prepare for prison, is her quote, versus Richard Painter, law professor, University of Minnesota, your backyard. He's an ex-George W. Bush staffer who claimed the Trump campaign was colluding with the Russians.
Yeah, that's way more inflammatory. Kathy Griffin, between the severed head and the just shut the F up and prepare for prison. I mean, that's, I appreciate that because it's ballsy. I like ballsy, but she's just way wrong.
I'm pushing Kathy Griffin out of this bracket.
Yeah, so I'm definitely think she moves on. I don't know Richard Painter.
Well, she's going to go up against...
the Abramson, he wrote a book called Proof of Conspiracy, How Trump's International Collusion is Threatening American Democracy. So this guy has capitalized on this. He's not good. Does BBC, CNN. Anyway.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Last.
This is 2 versus 7 seed. 2 is Lawrence Tribe or Tribe?
Tribe? I'll say Tribe.
Tribe.
No idea.
Professor, Harvard Law School. Quote, you can take collusion and obstruction claims to the bank. Yeah.
Really, can we?
Versus number 7, Robert De Niro, actor who acted out the left's Mueller fantasies on Saturday Night Live.
De Niro I like, except sometimes he makes really terrible political. Yeah, he's been very anti-Trump since the beginning. He's the 7 seed. You got Tribe as the 2 seed. That's interesting. That is a tough one. And so they just did play the Mueller fantasies on Saturday Night Live. Brian, I'm torn on that one. I'm
taking De Niro versus Griffin.
Yeah.
Just the, what Hollywood likes to do is give you a big name and something glitzy and glamorous, a funny comedian or a funny show or, someone that's esteemed as an actor, a musician, and because they're good at one thing, they're supposed to be this expert at something else. And it's this constant sleight of hand. It's this magical, mystical, that's why I think someone like Alyssa Milano is dangerous, just like Kathy Griffin and De Niro. So I would have De Niro versus Griffin, and I'd have Griffin taking down De Niro there.
Yeah.
She's been one of the biggest poster children, and I'll emphasize children, just about her unfunny rants and going after the Covington kids too. That was something else that was brought up by Tim Pool with the Twitter execs. Like, how are you banning some people, but Kathy Griffin still has a Twitter account? She's calling for the doxing of Covington kids because a kid stood somewhere and smirked.
Yeah. So
to dox somebody,
I don't take seriously, but Griffin's definitely has a lot more dangerous rhetoric.
So what do we have? We got Molly Abramson versus Griffin.
I think that's a tough one.
For the Final Four.
I don't know, Brian. What do you think?
Kathy Griffin.
Okay.
Hands down. So that leaves us with our Final Four.
Right. So
and by the way, leave your comments. Tell us the matchups. We tweeted this out. We're at American_media_. He tweeted it out at Eccentric99. So take a look. You can see the brackets and tell us where you think we messed up when we did our brackets here. But our Final Four then, if I'm recalling correctly, would be
Rachel Maddow
from the cable bracket.
The print bracket would be Paul Krugman.
He beat Crystal?
Yes.
Okay.
Because Crystal's he's been fading away for the last couple of years.
Okay. Well, so is Krugman.
Krugman is still prominent.
Yeah, sort of. Okay, so Krugman versus Maddow.
Maddow.
Yeah, I mean, either of them were going to lose to Maddow.
Yeah.
I mean, she's such a joke.
She gets paid $10 million to look all serious.
I called out.
20 million.
I've called out a lot of people for a lot of things, but I haven't consistently called out things that I have known to be false. I mean, these people have known. It wasn't just hoping for it to be true. or it wasn't the delusion of just believing the hope that it was true. Am I giving them too much credit or too much blame by saying I think a lot of these people, most of these people, knew that they were full of it, knew that they were pushing lies and fake news and conspiracy theories?
Yeah, you got to wonder, did Rachel Matt, when did she know? When did she figure it out?
I mean, that's actually an interesting question.
Every day she had to like convince herself that this was leading somewhere?
Maybe they did believe
if you're
it.
Getting paid $10 million a year or whatever she is, do you just do what you're told? Because you got to keep your job. If you say, hey, look, Phil Griffin, I'm not so sure about this story. I don't want to have Adam Schiff on today. I want to get past this whole Russia collusion stuff because this is going to affect my career. I don't know if I'm right on this one, or do you just double down and you push and you hope that all of these intelligence people that you have on your show, the Adam Schiffs, that they're going to find something, and then you'll be vindicated in the end.
All right, so that's Rachel Maddow advancing. That leaves us with the network winner. That would be Jimmy Kimmel. I'm sorry, Stephen Colbert. My bad. I was looking at the wrong one. Right. Stephen Colbert, the 3-seed advances against the Twitterati division leader, Kathy Griffin.
That's another 3-seed. We had a
3 versus 3.
3 seeds, and Rachel Maddow.
3 threes.
Well, I think Colbert easily beats Griffin because Griffin's had her few moments. He's had a few major incidents. Outside of that, Colbert has been a nightly force, much like Maddow, 5 days a week, spewing hate. So
let's see if the Jimmy Kimmel Live show or in the Late Show on CBS and The View on ABC, let's see if these are deplatformed and demonetized and pushed down in the algorithms and have their channels suspended for pushing fake news conspiracy theories. I mean, that's what we've been told for the past year, right? For the past 2 years, that's the game plan of social media. All right, so Colbert versus Griffin. That's Colbert.
Yes,
that's Colbert. And then
moves on to the championship
round.
Rachel Maddow.
Rachel versus Colbert.
Got to go with Rachel.
Got to go with Rachel.
She's
a laughing stock.
A serious journalist, whereas Colbert, although he has become more serious and actually like played himself, I guess, since he moved on to the Big Late Show. But he's, not taken as seriously. He's still running. So he
used to play the Bill O'Reilly, like he used to pretend he was like Bill O'Reilly.
Yeah,
like a super conservative, fake conservative, mocking conservatives. And there was something funny about that,
because he did a good job doing that. And he was great as the contributors on
Daily Show, of course.
Excellent.
It goes to Maddow, hands down. Rachel Maddow, you are the champion. You are the worst.
Way to go, Rachel.
Congratulations, Rachel. You are the worst. That's unanimous. I mean, It's just nonstop. It's easy to tell. Okay, so tell us in the comments who you would have advancing in this Miller Madness bracket. We had Rachel Maddow winning. And by the way, the worst was a championship game played in a DC martini bar officiated by Wolf Blitzer. I forgot to mention that before. That's a nice little component to this story. So, all right, that's the news for today. Follow Blake on Twitter. He's at Eccentric99. Follow us at American_media_. Subscribe, youtube.com/TheNewAmericanMedia. Follow us on Facebook, The New American Media. Patreon, The New American Media. Instagram.com/TheNewAmericanMedia, because the news always matters. All right, to be continued. And sign up for our Munch Madness Facebook group. It's called TNAM Food and Drink. TNAM Food and Drink, because the news always matters. The New American Media. TNAM Food and Drink. We're doing our Munch Madness. Once again, the reminder, that's Kellogg's Raisin Bran versus Fruity Pebbles, Frosted Flakes versus Blueberry, Crunch Berries versus Corn Pops, Cocoa Krispies versus Lucky Charms, Captain Crunch versus Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and Fruit Loops versus Cocoa Puffs. Final bracket, Golden Grahams versus Honey Nut Cheerios, Honey Bunches of Oats, and Cocoa Pebbles. All right. I appreciate you guys. I love you. Talk to you again soon. Take care. Peace.